All right, my friends, welcome back. This is going to be part 34 of my presentation on the flood and Noah's Ark. Now, in my last video, when I was going back over it, I noticed that I said it was part 32. Actually, that was part 33. And so I got a pad of paper here, and I've got notes on it, and I keep all my presentations in line, and I save these videos, and so you can see all the previous ones there. And but I've got notebooks. I keep a lot of notes. Here's another notebook. This thing is slap full. It took me about 3.5 to 4 years to fill this one up, but I keep it. I keep it because there's good stuff in it, and so I'm a note taker. I keep lots of notes, and so but I had slacked off and I forgot to put part 33 on here. So when I had part 32, that's what I thought I was at until I was uploading on YouTube. And because I upload on 3 platforms: Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. And I was uploading on YouTube, and I saw in the content that I had part 32 already there, and I was like, oops. And so, but at any rate, this is part 34. This is part 34. And in this one here, we are going to get into a new block, a big block that's going to take a bunch of videos. And so get ready to get your plates full. In this one here, we're going to ultimately be talking about dating methods, certain dating methods, and some of the problems with it. And I'm not going to be going into all the different dating methods. And so, but we're going to kind of briefly go over some, and then in others, I'll be giving a little bit more detail in it. Again, I'm not an expert in this, guys. I'm not. And so these are just things that I've learned and that I'm sharing with you. But in this one here, I'm going to give you some places that you can go to further your knowledge, not only just on the dating methods, but also in the creation topic as a whole. And these are people that I've put my trust in, that I have in my library, not only in book form, but in video form. And so that you can go to. So that's what we're going to start off here. And I'm just going to, if we have the time, I'm going to touch on just a couple slides. And I've got those slides already ready to go. Maybe 3 or 4 slides is all we're going to hit. And so, but again, we need to continually lay the foundation on this. And so, just like with the dinosaur and man presentation, before I even got into the dinosaur topic, well, first we got to find out, the age of the earth, as far as how long ago were they? What's the differences between evolution and creationism? The days of creation, are they literal? That type of stuff. How powerful is God? All those things matter when you talk about the very beginning of Genesis, because people, for some reason, guys, believe me, I've been doing this for nearly 30 years now. And so, believe me, I've talked to a lot of folks in the creation, even in creation circles, in Christian circles, church environments, and I get the most weirdest and bizarre things from folks that they believe. And they don't, and when I ask them where'd they get it from, well, my friend told me, well, I saw it on television, well, I think, and then you start getting all the opinions and stuff based upon zero evidence, nothing at all. They can't refer it to anything. And so that's the problem that has permeated the whole Christian evangelical ministry, is that there's people that have started putting opinions in God's word instead of sticking to what is in the book. And so it's literal. It's very literal. And so you don't have to have a college education to understand it. And so I don't have a college education at all, zero. But I have people that come up to me and think I have a master's degree. A master's degree, really? I don't. I've never been to college in my life. And so, yeah, you can hear me when I'm reading these slides, how much I mess up on the word and stuff. I struggle with it, but I'm not going to let it stop me from teaching it. So, I am just like everyone else. I just have a real keen interest into this topic, and I've given pretty much a large portion of my life to studying it. And it's just simple as that. All the Lord needs is somebody that's willing to do it. And you would be amazed what the Lord can do with just one person, one person. And there's a lot of areas that I fault in, but I'll tell you what, right now, this is one thing I cannot seem to shut up about, and that's creationism and giving the Lord the glory for what he's done. So, with that being said, let's look at some books here. I'm going to be having a slide come up in the end. That way you can pause it and take notes about what I'm talking about. But the first one, I'm just kind of going off my slide here. But again, I will show you this. That way you can pause it, screenshot it, however you want to do it. You can remember what I'm talking about. The first one here is the geology book by Dr. John Morris. Dr. John Morris, and now he is deceased. He passed away. I was quite shocked when I found out about it, but I'm not sure, what the reasons were, what happened. But at any rate, great guy. And he is from the Institute for Creation Research. So if you want to Google Institute for Creation Research, you can find that ministry. But just remember this, the geology book, a great book. And so again, these books that I'm showing you is going to help you when you start talking about the dating methods and the atmosphere and geology and stuff like that. That's going to help you out. And so the next one here is The Young Earth by, again, Dr. John D. Morris. And so remember it. Look at this book. This is what you're going to want to look for. John D. Morris, great book. He goes into all types of stuff. But again, this is a great book. Again, if you want to get into dating methods and just wanting to learn more about where the creationism stance is when it comes to geology and atmosphere and stuff like that. Again, Dr. John Morris, The Global Flood, the Global Flood, awesome book. And so some of the things that you'll hear me talk about has come from these books that I'm showing you in this material. And so awesome book. Now, there's a video by Mike Riddle from Answers in Genesis. It's called Dating Fossils and Rocks. It's a video, awesome video. You'll really learn a lot about it. Another one is Dr. Walt Brown. Now, he's got this book here in the beginning. He's got this book here in PDF format. I do have that. He's revised this thing, I don't know how many times. And so that's all he does. And so just like what I do, I've got three main presentations that I do: Dinosaurs and Man, the Flood in Noah's Ark, and the Microscopic World. And all I do, guys, ever since the 90s, is I have been researching and adding to that material since then. And that's all I do. That's all I've been doing. That's all I will do, is keep adding to this material. I've been just adding and adding to it, to the part now where now I'm having to split up my presentations because it's too much for the computer to bring up. And so I've had to do that with the Noah's Ark presentation already. And so, but at any rate, this is an outstanding book. And get that PDF format, and you can keep it in your file in your library. Awesome, very awesome. He goes into all types of stuff. And so man knows his stuff when it comes to that. But we're going to talk about Dr. Walt Brown in the future, when we get into some of the more aspects of the flood and where the water came from and stuff like that. Another great book, John Woodmorapp. Now this one here I don't have on the slide here that I'm going to show you, but look at this book here. There's his name there if you want to freeze it. John Woodmorapp. It's called The Mythology of Modern Dating Methods. And so awesome book. It's going to give you kind of a background on the evolution, how they date the things and some of the flaws in it. And so And we're going to, like I said, we're going to be talking about that in the videos to come. And I just want you to remember this guy's name, Michael Oard. Michael Oard, Oard, Oard. Now, he's got a book called The Weather Book. Now, this guy was a meteorologist, guys, and he's also part of the people of the Creation Research. Let's see, the Creation Research Society. I believe he's a part of the Creation Research Society, if my mind serves me correct. He's one of the researchers there. And so don't ever let anybody tell you that there's scientists that don't believe in creation, and that all scientists believe in evolution. That's hogwash. That's hogwash. There are scores and scores and scores of scientists out here that do believe the Bible and do believe in creationism. And one of these guys is right here, Michael Oard, along with the others I just showed you. These guys have doctorates, PhDs. They know their stuff. They're scientists. And so right there, Michael Oard, The Weather Book, anything by Michael Oard, you're going to want to pay attention to. He really knows his stuff. And he does a lot with like the Ice Age and tells you how it came about. And he knows about weather and stuff. So that plays into it. And so amazing individual, very knowledgeable, very smart. And so I do anything that he does, I always keep my eye and ear to it. Now, if you'll notice on the screen here, this is some of those things, those books I told you about. And again, the ones that are not on here, just freeze the video and you can take notes on that. And just remember, these are great books. I've been through them. I have them in my library. I can give a definite thumbs up on them. You are going to learn something from them. Now, another one is the Creation Research Society. Now, this is just in general for you guys. If you want to go to these folks, you will learn something. Now, the Creation Research Society, guys, is a bit of a hard read. You need to really have a background into this stuff because these are scientists that are writing this stuff. And so anybody that says that scientists are evolutionists and they don't believe in creationism, you need to point them to these folks right here, the Creation Research Society. They are no joke. And so you guys can learn it. Now, I used to have a membership, a subscription to them. I don't anymore because I wasn't using the magazine as much. And a lot of times I would have to do backgrounds on what they're even talking about before I could even read most of the articles. And so, again, I'm just being honest with you guys. And so for those of you that do have these backgrounds, biology degrees and stuff like that, and the masters and all that, you guys are probably going to excel with these magazines and stuff. And so you can learn from them. But again, they're more for people with a background, more of a college background on that. And so they do put out Creation Matters. And so I've gotten lots of stuff from that. And some of the things that you'll hear me talk about have came from the Creation Research Society and Creation Matters. And so they do have a thumb drive that you can buy called Creation in a Flash. And so I do have that also, which is an outstanding flash drive. And I like to have stuff like that if I'm going to be going somewhere and I want to do some research. I can have a lot of library and just a few thumb drives. And so now another one is Answers in Genesis. Answers in Genesis magazine. Guys, these are for anybody. The layman, you can be a novice. They talk in what people can understand, in ways that people can understand it. You are not going to be disappointed. I still have not went to go see, excuse me, Ken Ham's Ark or the Creation Museum. Sandra and I are actually playing with the idea of going there soon and just making a big road trip to go see family members and then come back and see the Ark and stuff. I know when I go to see this place, it's going to make me get on fire. And but for those of you that are RVers and have the availability, they do have seasonal workers that they do work. And so there are campgrounds that are somewhat near them. And so Sandra and I had actually played around with the idea of doing that. Not sure But we have more of an availability of doing it now than ever before. And so, but I know when I see the place, I'm going to get on fire and probably want to sell everything and move up there. And so, they have a little pamphlet that's inside of the magazine called Kids Answers, and kids can understand. So they got something for the kids there. Awesome magazine, guys. Top, top, top on my list. Creation.com, another great magazine. Now, these here I do have subscriptions to Answers in Genesis and the creation.com. I do have Answers Magazine and creation.com magazine. I do have subscriptions to these. Awesome, awesome articles, guys. You're really going to learn some stuff. And so now don't be afraid to learn from secular magazines. The very important thing, guys, that you need to remember is that you need to keep things in a biblical timeline, a biblical perspective. If you do that, you will see these articles in a completely different light. And so you got to know how to smoke out the garbage from the real good research. And believe me, these folks do real good research. And so, unfortunately, they come to the wrong conclusion. And so, but again, a lot of them do great research, and many of the things that I bring up come from secular sources. And remember, the word secular has no religious affiliation whatsoever. And so don't be afraid of these magazines just because they're not Christian. And so I've got many of these articles in my library, and I will refer to them. And so, but I tell you what, let's stop right there. I got 18 minutes into this. And so, again, we're laying the groundwork. We're laying this foundation, guys. And so, before we go, I can zip through these slides, give you a little bit off the top and move on. And that's not really teaching people. I have personally found myself, you really need to get into that a little bit more, than just right off the top. For those folks that like the right off the top, my ministry is definitely not one that you're going to want to listen to. And so, but for those of you that really want something to feed you, you're at the right place. You're at the right place. And so what's so great about the technology that we have now is that you can do it anytime you want. Watch part of the video and then stop and then watch the rest of it later. And you can do it anywhere. You can be anywhere in the middle of the woods. You can be outside in your backyard. I sit on the front porch a lot of times, and while I'm just sitting outside, I'll watch something. And so we have the availability to learn not only God's word, but stuff like this more than never before in the history of mankind. And so, and we're going to be held accountable to that. And so, but at any rate, when we come back, I promise you, we are going to get into the atmospheric layers of the earth. And we're going to start going into this planet and revealing some things that maybe you weren't quite aware of, and to show you how meticulously and detailed the Lord is in putting it all together. And we're going to put it in context to what it was like before the flood. Because remember, just as the scripture said, the world that then was perished. It perished. It was totally different than what we have now. And that plays a lot into some of the dating methods and some of the things that we see in our atmosphere today. But you guys take care. I love you, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.